nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cuccio? Here. Mr. Paredes?
Here.
Mr. Hagan?
Here.
Ms. Lentz? Here. Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Reiner? Here. Ms. Turner? Ms. Wick? Here. 8 present and 1 absent.
Thank you. We did have a closed session prior to this meeting, and we will also have another one after, both under personnel and legal. Moving on to agenda to board reports. Mr. Miller, do you have a board report for VOTEC?
I do. This past week, we passed 22-23 budget. The sports medicine students towards Slippery Rock University to see their anatomy lab. The student of the year, first and second round interviews were completed. Teachers will nominate students based on leadership, honesty, responsibility, diligence, certifications, current competitions, behavior, and attendance. The lunchbox, which is the restaurant up there that is run by, or all the food prepared by the students. It's open for dine-in or takeout Tuesday through Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. Menus are posted on the Butler County VOTEC website. And the awards program special event, which recognizes the senior students' participation and accomplishments, will be held on May 23rd at 6:30 at the Butler Intermediate Auditorium.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Other board reports, Ms. Lenz, did you have a day at school?
Yeah, 6A, I got to participate and take a board member to your classroom day. Thank you, Ms. Pitzer, for having me. She's at the Mars Area Elementary School. She's a gifted teacher there. So she does the acceleration for 4th graders who are doing the accelerated curriculum. And interestingly enough, my son happens to have this supposed to be a Mr. Zima, and that's who she worked with to do her curriculum for 4th grade. So I got to sit in while she was teaching the same thing my son's doing to those kids. She also does the gifted pull-out for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade to give them some extra stuff. She's such a benefit to Mars. She is so patient. I watched her keep multiple kids engaged today who were clearly willing to go off track and were more interested as to why I was in their room than what she was trying to do. She is really challenging these kids and thinking outside the box. You can tell she uses her own time, energy, and money to keep these kids having more opportunities. She asks a lot of leading questions and gets these kids to think on a deeper level. The kids are so fun to be around. Every year, I hope to go to the middle school or high school because that's where I haven't spent very much of my time, even if my kids are in all the elementary schools. But they're so fun at that age, so they're excited to be there and they're happy to be around. I did get to witness some of the tech issues that teachers can face on a daily basis and how that really can detract from education. Unfortunately, she's doing the 5th grade curriculum in 4th grade, so they don't have the one-to-one technology devices, and they weren't able to do some of their coding minutes today or some of their research papers because their tech wasn't working. But it's impressive to see how, she's not an ITC for that building, but she's able to mitigate some of these things and get the kids back on track. She did a STEAM project with umbrellas. Some fun facts: umbrellas were invented in 1000 BC to shade the Egyptians. I didn't know that. And she had a thing where the kids made umbrellas for little penguins and squeezed water over them to see whose penguin skate dry. So Mars is lucky to have her. She's dedicated, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to go into her classroom.
Thank you, Ms. Lenz. Sounds like you had a good day. Mr. Paredes.
Well, I had the pleasure of spending most of the day with Mr. Wesley last Tuesday. Mr. Wesley's at the high school and teaches biology and anatomy. So we started with homeroom. We started with homeroom. That was fun. It was neat to see that my child is not the only one absolutely completely asleep in the morning. So we started real quiet, but then everybody started to warm up a little bit as time went on. We recited the Pledge of Allegiance, which I was glad to see. And the 2 young ladies who did the morning announcements did a great job. So I thought that was really, I think that started to start some conversations. Then we went into periods 1 and 3 AP Bio Lab. And it was an experiment testing photosynthesis in spinach leaves in an acid-base environment. Who else is in that class? So great class. The class started with the entire class together was to conduct a discussion on how to conduct an experiment, while also reviewing previous related experiments information that was learned in previous classes. Then the class divided into groups of 2-3 students as the experiment was conducted. So the part that was neat was Mr. Wesley has a really cool way of engaging the class by starting a discussion and leaving words out that the students need to fill in, which I thought was really neat. So it kind of, without calling people out, it keeps people engaged, and the whole class comes being intense to try to review the information and hear all the answers as they go through. So it was really neat. It's hard to tell if he was what he was intentionally leaving out, or what he was trying to encourage the students just to go on their own. But really neat job. The students really seemed to react well. So throughout the class, Mr. Wesley rotated groups, discussing the ongoing results of each group, and continuing to lead and encourage that type of discussion. The part I loved was that it wasn't just a fixed experiment with a guaranteed outcome. It was a experiment that was designed to have some failure and some things missing, and that the whole group needed the experiments from the, I would say, what about 12 groups between the two labs, and all of the results get recorded together, and you start to see things like standard deviation and standard things that were missing, and you get to throw out those results. It's noticed that not every experiment is always going to turn out exactly what we want, and then they were able to aggregate the results and kind of take the average and come up with a pure hypothesis. The part that was cool was him and I sat afterwards, and he didn't even know the answer to the experiment at the time. So, which was always really neat. We looked it up on the computer afterwards and said, "Hey, is our hypothesis true?" It turned out to be true. So it was really neat. It was very open. It was neat for the students to see them have to kind of see things that worked and things that didn't, and each answer was okay. It just got to add to the entire group's database. So that was really neat. He allowed some students to stay after and finish the experiment, which I thought was really neat, to make sure that they got the full benefit of seeing the entire experiment. So that was really cool. Then I came back in the afternoon to attend an anatomy class, learning about the digestive tract. Again, cool. We started the class, the kids walked in, we made them all take a stethoscope and a glass of water, made them swallow and listen to their digestive tract. And the cool part was it got the students engaged in the subject matter before he began talking about the rest of it. So that was really cool. And again, that same style where he used the Prometheus boards, great to see how he utilizes that. But as he went through the information, starts to kind of start a sentence and make the students complete the sentences to show they really know the information. But he pulled in stuff that he had done previously. He talked about things that are going to be done in future classes. I mean, it was a whole curriculum all wrapped together. You could tell he really knew, or was encouraging the students to know where they came from and where they're going. He used a lot of Greek roots and understanding how to relate that to everyday life. It was a great class. I was on the set. I didn't get there to be there the next day to see what the actual results were. So he was approachable, and honestly, he would be one of my favorite teachers in elementary school. So, and I think he is for the students. The students seem to really like him. He's really supportive. He's Mr. West. He's unique, and he's a great guy. And I really appreciate having him in this class. It's a lot of fun. You guys are lucky to have him. If you haven't taken anatomy yet, take it. It's fun.
Get on my hand. So there's a lot of young people in the room, but I don't know if student council's here. Is student council here? Her here, she usually comes. I don't see her. I didn't see her walk in. So I'm going to assume we're going to catch up with her next week or next month. So now we come to public comment, agenda items only. We're going to modify it tonight because we have a lot of people out here. So we're going to make it a public comment open forum. What we'll do is we'll dedicate the next 30 minutes to public comment. You can speak whatever you want. It's not a question and answer. It's not a debate. It's you to speak to the board. So we'll start with the first 30 minutes. Do we have anybody sign up? We have a sign up sheet.
Alexandra, Oregon.
Okay. So I just need you to say your name, your address, and then you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is Alexandra Oregon. I live at 1837 Liberty Way. And I'll be speaking on behalf of the Mars varsity dance team along with Maddie, and Delaney. So I just want to say thank you for listening to us tonight, but we're addressing the school board asking for support to change some of the recent decisions made limiting our participation at football games and boys basketball games. As most of you are aware, the Mars varsity dance team was created and approved as a new varsity club in August of 2021. As a senior, I was extremely excited to finally be able to participate in an activity that represented Mars while doing something that I love to do, which is dance. It was an outlet outside of school to socialize with 22 other Mars students, grades 9 through 12. I was able to establish friendships with team members I may have never met otherwise. That's the team. We came together in a very short period of time to learn routines and support each other and prepare for what we thought was going to be an incredible experience. As the football season began, we were able to perform a pregame show as well as dance on the sidelines on the track. It was great to see the support from the student body as well as tons of football fans of all ages. And I'm going to turn our side down.
Yeah, here, I'll just, because our last 3 minutes. I can make it 9 minutes, so you can be all 3, so I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, you will have to see your name and address.
So I am Addison Keys. I live on 229 Coastside Drive, and I am also on behalf of the dance team. So as the season progressed, we were confronted with many challenges on how we could participate from game to game. We began to see many inequities in comparison to the cheerleaders. Our position changed on the track to where we were moved towards the end zone and out of the view from the majority of the spectators. We were told not to use our palms, and we had to stop playing loud music. An opportunity to represent our school with pride and excitement was beginning to be overcome with anxiety, frustration, and pure sadness. We looked forward to other opportunities to bring school spirit to additional activities through dance, but those were blunted as well when we were told that we could not perform at the boys' basketball games. Thankfully, we found other opportunities when the wrestling team and the lacrosse team both reached out to us to perform at their games. Fast forward to the upcoming 2022 to 2023 fall season. We have been told that we can only perform a 4-minute pregame show at all football games, but then after pregame, we must leave the track and our performance is done for the night. How can our participation be less than our inaugural season as a dance team? Why does the Mars dance team continue to struggle to find a place in school activities? Maddie will now share with how our neighboring school districts treat their dance teams. Okay. My name is Maddie Leishman, and my address is 3033 Point Road. When the varsity Mars dance team was formed, it was modeled after the Seneca Valley High School and college dance teams in the area. Seneca Valley has 2 dance teams, one on the sidelines and another that is a more traditional palms drill team with the band. Both the cheer team and the dance team have the same coach and
Can she slow down
organization.
just a little bit? Will you slow down for me? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just trying to take notes.
Okay. They have the same coach and booster organization. The dance team performs in front of the student section and the cheerleaders perform at the 50-yard line. They switch occasionally. The dance team participates at both home and away games. Both teams run together to the end zones for big plays. Seneca Valley dance team also performs pregame and are on the sidelines during home basketball games. Pine Richland has a traditional palm throw team that performs with the marching band at halftime during football games and on the sidelines during the games. They perform during halftime during the basketball games and participate in parades and pep rallies with the marching band. North Catholic has started a dance team this past school year. They have performed during halftime and timeouts during basketball games, and the plan is for them to also perform pregame and on the sidelines during the football season. If you look at the college level, both Pitt and WVU perform at football and basketball games. They dance for pregame, timeouts, and in the end zones for the entire game. So as you can see, having this level of exposure during football and basketball games would prepare members of the Mars dance team to participate at the collegiate level if this is what they aspire to do. I will now turn it over to Delaney for some closing remarks.
My name is Delaney James, and I live at 311 Longwood Drive. Our hope is that with what has been communicated this evening, our passion and commitment shines through in supporting our school and cultivating school spirit through the art of dance. We only wish we had the opportunity to participate more. Comments have been made through email that there was a concern that dance team would have a negative impact on cheerleading in the band. Why would this assumption ever be made? It was also commented that there was concern that the presence of dance team would be detrimental to any of the pre-established programs. This is unfair and inappropriate, and what is disheartening is that the administration would even think this. Why does there have to be inequalities on how clubs participate at a sporting event? Other clubs should be accepting of change and open to a more inclusive environment. Isn't this what we aspire to be as a school district and the whole impetus behind #BeTheKindKid? Our team feels beaten down with no support from the school or district administration. All teams should have equal representation regardless of the school or supporting event. So I ask, what have we done wrong to be treated so unfairly? Thank you for this time. Thank you for your time this evening. It's okay, I have some informational packets to pass out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, what is in there, like what other districts are doing?
Yeah, it's also just about how we're reaching out to the board and the topics we kind of focus on, stuff like that.
Thank you.
It's for an awesome job. Everybody can do it. Is this it? So since we opened up the public comment open forum, we can continue. Is there anyone else in the room wish to have public comment at this point? All four of these girls with the pre-signs, yes. Is there anyone else in the room wish to have public comment at this point? Seeing none in the room, is there anyone in the Zoom world wish to have public comment? Anyone on Zoom wish to have public comment at this point?
May I have public comment?
Seeing none other, Dr. Griffin.
Yeah, what I'd like to do, we wanted to get you in early, should have to wait to the end of the meeting. I met with a couple of you earlier last year and did an awesome job. You're very great in my office too. Here is where we are. I don't speak openly, I hope I don't offend anyone, but anyone knows I'm always very upfront and honest. The issue with dance team isn't over, in my opinion. And I know folks around me probably say you're a glutton for punishment, but I'm not. I want to figure it out. The fact that you're here and using words like beaten down, it's ridiculous, okay? Not you're ridiculous. Here is where we are. And I just want to give you a little bit of a time history. So you're always hearing one side of it. This is basically the synopsis. When the dance team idea came up, it was me and Mr. Heinauer initially, and we had talked to Jamie, your coach. And we're like, okay, how does this work? Because you're looking at a guy that you don't really want me to tell you how to dance or cheer or any of those things, okay? But I'm very open, you say you're student-centered and you just stand behind it. I don't like that you're even here. It's sort of uncomfortable, like, I feel like we blew it, okay? But here's the history. Back in, when this was first talked about, and again, this isn't to disparage anyone, it's just to get factual. When this all came out, the initial thought was, how does this work? There's a lot of talk about Seneca Valley. I don't know how any of that works. But a board member in a public meeting had asked Jamie in the back, how is this going to work? You have an 11-minute halftime, you have marching band, who I'm sure if they were here, they love you to death, but they don't want to lose time. You have cheerleaders that don't really want to lose their opportunity to showcase themselves, and they're the historical things at the football. So when that question was asked, I don't want to say it was dishonest, but it didn't happen. That was the major concern. And when it was asked, the comment was, quote, we will be working very close with the cheerleaders and we will be under the umbrella of the cheerleading boosters, which led people like me, and I don't want to speak for the whole board, to say, good. Because it sounds like they're going to figure it out and work together and come forward. Well, as you know, that has not been the case. Okay. I know by talking to cheerleaders, there's really not a whole lot of issues among students. And I know talking to dance team members, and you know, last year, there's not a whole lot of issues among students. So here's where we went. Last year, I was absent from the meeting, but Dr. McMahon, Ms. Roswald, Mr. Heinauer, I had them meet with the dance team early in the summer because we weren't hearing much. And I know board members were saying, what's going on? In the meeting, it was obvious that you weren't working with the cheerleaders. It's not your fault. Weren't working with the cheerleaders and weren't under the umbrella of cheerleaders. So we have this separate group. So the decision was made at that meeting. Since you're new, we really don't want to. When I say in my email, because that was my email, negatively impact. I guess I don't mean it that way. Just trying to respect everyone involved. I use this example. Be like someone says, "Hey, can I sit at the table with you?" Yeah, if I say sit at the table with me, it doesn't mean push me out of my chair, but join me, right? So that's really what that should feel like. So when that originally happened, the plan was 4 minutes pregame. Have at it at wrestling, girls basketball, lacrosse, soccer, where cheerleaders aren't. And as you start showcasing yourself, the goal being, because I made the comment in the previous meeting, because it keeps coming back to me, and I'm glad it does, because people were listening. I said, dance not going away. We want you here. We don't want you to feel this way. So, make a long story short, That was the plan, because we knew you were working with cheerleaders and I'm not even saying cheerleaders in a negative way. We're just trying to be respectful of people that are already there, that a new group doesn't come in and sort of take over. Probably about I'm guessing, as the season started, I know we had conversation, but I don't remember when that was. I started getting a steady stream of, we want more participation in football. Okay, it's like, but you're not working with cheerleaders. How do we do that? I did what I thought was best. Didn't work. Man enough to say it didn't work. I basically said, come heck or high water, these girls will go be at a certain place on the field and they're not going to impact anyone else. And we're going to all go along and eventually things will go well. Well, you probably know how that went. And I know the parents that are here probably know how that went. It was just a constant barrage. And no disrespect to anyone in this room. I'm just like, my goodness gracious, this can't be this difficult. To the point, when the season's over, I had the dance team coach, I had the cheerleading coaches, I had the band coming in with this flowery idea that this is not that hard. And in a meeting with you, I remember looking at you and your mom and said, this is not that hard. It's called working together, okay? In that meeting, and this is where I just need to be very open, those personalities don't work. And I'm not saying who's right or wrong. The minute we would get to the point it was close, there were very pointed and almost mean comments being made. So if you know anything, and the parents here will tell you that too, when things get personal, you can forget everything else, because now it's like all about winning. It became a situation where this is more about winning than who's going to win. So my strong recommendation continues to be, right now, it's not what you want to hear me say. Right now, in the same email that I said, is if the group was accepted and being under the umbrella of cheerleader and working with cheerleaders, that set us off the rails right away. So if you're not working with, you are now separate. If you're separate, then we have to consider scheduling separately as not to interfere. But in Mark Gross's world, I don't think this is that difficult. But I'm going to implore the parents and the students to do, and I made a comment to Dr. McMahon today, you know where most of the good ideas come from? I don't care if it's representative of the students. That we go back and tell your advisor, this is what we're all comfortable. I don't care how it works, but we've got to find a way where people are talking with people and we're not trying to win and we're not trying to get emotional, because it's embarrassing. And I said it in the meeting, and I actually still joked about it. I said, probably made some parents upset. We're adults. But I said, it's absolutely embarrassing that I'm sitting here and we can't figure this out. So I ended that meeting by saying, and I would admit this, to try to put the pressure on. And I looked at both advisors and I said, Mark Gross has tried and it's not working. The second I make one decision, the other side's in my ear. You need to go back to the original goal, and you nailed it, young lady. You did an awesome job. You said at one of the schools that the cheerleading and dance coaches are all one and the same. And I'm not trying to be mean. That's the problem. I'm not saying that's the problem with those people. I think your dance team instructor, based on what I hear, is phenomenal at what she does. And I hear the same about cheer. Cheer parents love their coach. Dance team loves their coach. Well, if they can't figure it out, no disrespect to their, I'm willing to sit here. I'm willing to have another meeting with different personalities, different representatives, and say, let calmer heads prevail here. I don't see how in the world we can have a football field that long and that many parents who just want the same thing I wanted as a parent. I want to see my child enjoy what they're doing and be part of something, and I don't want to be second. So I really did put the pressure on. Unfortunately, the answer from the dance team coach was in response to an email sent prior to basketball season, and I'll read it. Okay, this was sent from Mrs. Roswell, because I had asked Mrs. Roswell to send this. It's not that we haven't been thinking about you, okay? Ms. Roswell said, following the last meeting led by Dr. Gross with all the groups, it was presented that both groups need to work together to determine participation at winter sports. Has that occurred? If so, can you please share that proposal? In the absence of any new plan, we will continue as planned in August with the dance team attending wrestling, girls basketball games, and lacrosse and soccer, if they would like, and the cheerleading team will attend the boys' game. I'm glad to hear both groups were invited to attend the evening's kickoff activities of the boys' basketball team. I wanted to make sure there was a clear plan moving forward. This is where I'm just getting real with you. The response is, and it's not a pity party, I'm a superintendent. I don't want anything about dance. Okay? Work with me. Unfortunately, the answer was basically, that's not our role. That is not up to my band, that's up to our board parents, and that's the administration's role. Okay? So maybe it is. But going back to why it didn't work. I'm not here saying anything other than if we do this the right way, especially the young folks here, there's power in communication like that. I don't care, and no disrespect to families, I don't care if it's students coming together. Because come heck or high water, if we have something that works, we'll do it. But the key is exactly what you said. In the perfect world, when you have the same person overseeing the whole, makes it a whole lot easier. So I don't know where the personalities get involved or anything like that. But I'm sad you're here because it shows basically that my attempts to jump in didn't work. And I'm at a loss for what will. So the second phase of my comment, if it wants to be the administration's decision, then I don't care who you are, parent, get a hold of me. Tell me who you're willing to represent and we meet. Because the plan will not be top down from me to you. And it's that simple.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
And yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that we're at that point. Yes.
The school board's role. Could I have my 3 minutes, please?
Sure.
Thank you. I wasn't going to.
Did you say 3 or 3rd?
I'm just kidding. You know what, I could go on, that's what I do. So, Robin, again, 5037 Liberty Way, that is my daughter. We did meet last year.
Right.
And I supported these girls. I read all of the handbooks. I read all of the policies around interscholastic or intramural sports clubs. I read the athletic handbook around the chain of command when there's an issue. And the chain of command reads that they need to deal with their coaches. If there's a problem still with the coaches, they move to the AD. If the AD does not resolve it, it moves to the principal. If the principal does not resolve it, it moves to the board or the super and then the board. These kids are here because the adults, the quote unquote adults, failed them. They could not come together. One would not come to the table, refused to listen to the other. These kids are telling you what they want. They want to just have what they had last year. They want to stand on the field. They were willing to compromise with the other team. The other team is not willing to compromise with these kids. These kids are the ones suffering in the meantime. They are the ones who are trying to follow what you all put into place via those policies and procedures. They need to be supported here because the lower layers did not work. So that is why they're coming to you now. And history and precedence is just that, history. These kids were supported a dance team. What a dance team is historically among all schools is coordinated, working, sharing fields at basketball and football. There has to be a way that you all can figure this out. These kids have figured it out. They just need you to help support them.
And I'm willing to facilitate that.
The last thing I'm gonna state, and my daughter's gonna kill me if I don't say it, is they want this on their transcripts this year. They have been told no. Even, they said it's too new. You do not get this on your transcript. They want it on their transcript because she's trying out for college dance teams and it needs to be official. So whoever, doesn't matter, the woman who puts this on their transcript,
No, when you
the
say
secretary
transcript,
said
the
no.
transcript is typically the academic.
So
Yeah,
where
but they
she has
also
all of
say
the
under
other
the
clubs on there,
organizations.
they
Yeah,
were
it says
told
clubs
no
and
the other day.
activities.
What's a club? It's under.
Yeah,
it's a-
but
It
they
needs
told
to be,
us,
somebody needs to
hold
communicate
on.
that back to the
That's
in
school.
okay.
in the
That was
meeting,
really.
in the guidance office, she
It'll
told
be
me that
as
they
what
were.
it is, club.
Yeah, that's fine,
Doesn't
that's
matter,
totally
she
fine.
needs to have dance teams on her
Yeah,
transcript.
Yeah, they told us
To make it
no.
official.
That's an easy.
Thank you.
You're
And whatever time I have left, take it.
So I use the word, I use the word
2 seconds.
implore. I implore you as a group to try to see who's willing to come and meet. I will meet and I'll facilitate. And you know what? I'll end by saying this. If it's going to be my decision, then I guess after that next meeting, I'll just make that decision. And it's no disrespect to anyone else. It's like, well, then if it's gonna fall on me, then it's gonna just have to be that way. I'm okay with that. I don't usually work that way. And the reason I'd asked that, the summer before this happened, we used to have concession stand issues, and I'm not even gonna name the groups because I don't wanna get into. It was the same thing. They had come together, they had met separate, they came with a proposal, I'm like, y'all good, good, good. That's the beautiful of this, you know. So, but thank you for coming and sharing.
What I was trying to say was, the board's role in this is simply to approve or not approve clubs. It is not to decide who stands where at a football game. If we started to get into the nitty-gritty of that, we can't get into it, there's no way. And then if we did change something, next Tuesday, this would be full of cheerleaders, and then the following Tuesday, this would be full of women. So I'm so glad to see your faces, because it actually makes this a nice night for us. But at
And
the
that's
same time,
right, and you're
don't
right.
think that we're not listening, that we don't care, that there's inequality. It's simply not my job to decide who stands where.
And she made a good point. It's like the decisions you make, then you got this group. That's why we gotta all get
Can you
together.
just clarify then, what is the role of the board according to the athletic handbook? Because it does say you're the ultimate arbitrator.
Our job is three things according to the state of the law. We are to hire and fire the superintendent. We are to set policies. Wait, an assistant superintendent, sorry, Dr. McCann, I didn't know.
No, it's all.
I would like to say one thing.
And we've got time. We've just got to get it figured out.
There was a rumor going around that, that you guys wouldn't exist in a year from now, and that was a goal, and I want you to know that
Oh my
that's
God.
not a goal. That the administration and the board want you here. So
I'm the
I
one who
think-
made the comment, dance team is not finalized.
Yeah.
We've got to figure this out.
You know, many
And I'm sure many
last
people out there
year-
saying, you got to figure out first. Well, then I'll try again. I promise you that.
There were a lot of board members, if you remember last year, very supportive. We had a very short period of time to get you guys started. It was about 2 weeks.
And you
at
were
the time, and
unanimously approved.
put a lot of time into trying to get this started. Definitely want.
And we really thought it was what you said.
I will
This is
say,
easy because they're all together.
whoever's putting this on your resume, I would definitely present this in the right way. Because you said it here, you better present, we helped form a new club. And I would actually talk about how this helped you with dealing with other groups, dealing with adults, maybe that sometimes don't, do what they're supposed to do. This could actually be spun in a very neat way. If I was doing an interview or an essay on for a college, I would be talking about this. You're gonna learn a lot more, unfortunately, about life and other things from this than you will.
And you know the other groups, some of you have.
You heard some great stuff, and thank you for being here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
And you know the other students there. I was principal for many years. I say that we always talk about students, but you ever talk to them? Because a lot of times when you do, there's a lot of great ideas. So your ideas, I don't know if you've even bounced it off of other friends who are in other organizations. So that's my plea, that the groups reach out and we coordinate another meeting. And maybe you can give them good ideas. Yes.
I feel as students, you used the analogy earlier of you asking someone to come sit at the table and then we'll put you away.
That's how some people.
Yeah, well, we feel as students that we got our chair kicked out from under us before we even got to sit down. And we have tried working with the students, we tried working with the coaches, but obviously nothing has worked because we're here today and now we're looking at all of you to help us.
It's not as difficult as it probably looks like it is. That's what I get frustrated about, because it's like, not that I'm lazy. I know the best idea is not going to come up with food. But thank you.
I love to sign up for Iowa Music. Okay.
Sure.
I get three, just need your name and address.
I live in 3 Village Drive. I just want to say that we, as a dance team, as parent of a dance team member, I really feel that Mars is going to be able to accomplish this. It would be really sad and disappointing if we couldn't. I don't think that what the girls are asking and what the team is hoping for is anything more than what exists at the other schools. And I think that's the point that we're trying to make, that there's no reason we can't accomplish that. I know Mars does that. So it's just a matter of we're kind of stuck on how. We're hoping to be umbrella and cheer, and that by no fault of the dance team didn't work out. Like we kind of said no, and that's okay. So that's why we had to exist separately. But at the same time, I think we just have to, the expectation should be that Mars is going to be able to incorporate dance team just as every other school does.
And the key is back to the made.
Yeah.
It's got to be groups working together.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the tough part right now, but we'll hopefully get there. Just take another angle.
One structural question, is 11 minutes a fixed, is that?
Yeah,
the
it's-
CIO fixed? No, I thought it was, it's, okay, so there's no extension.
And it's just the visiting teams and the cheer perform as well.
I know the visiting band. No, the home doesn't. No,
That's right, they perform at the
They'll
hours.
always have time show.
That's right.
So they split it between the home band and the away band.
split it.
And we're in no way asking to have time, we're just.
No.
Oh, no, I understand it. That's why I said summer.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just asking.
Saturday here, because I don't think it's a stretch to just look forward together. It's all about every child, not just who's in my club.
Do you guys have a representative that you would like for Dr. Gross to meet, or do you guys want to go back as a group and talk and then email Dr. Gross?
Yeah,
Okay, why don't we guys do that? That would be awesome. Kind of see who's gonna represent you guys, and then, you know, let's try to get this resolved. Thank you.
Sorry, Megan, can you give your full name and address? We couldn't catch it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Megan Sinicki. SINICKI. 301 Village Drive.
Keeps me out of trouble. You have no, I keep seeing your
Just,
name.
yeah, real fast. We'll definitely go back and like collaborate, but
Yeah.
you keep saying how we need to like make a proposal for you.
That would be wonderful. if
Yes,
that can
well,
happen.
we will. This kind of is our proposal. We're proposing that we want to participate like the college levels and like the high school, like.
Yeah, what I'd like to see is the proposal coming out of segments of both
Yes.
groups. And there's no disrespect to coaches, but I'd say, you know what? This is
Jamie
what the
can get all
students
that
agreed
too.
with. They're the ones doing it. They ain't
Yes.
about anyone else but them. So it'll help me make a decision. It may still be unpopular. At least I know it came from, because what's happened is we're hearing one group and the other, but they're not mutual proposals. So when you go with one, then the other. So some way to build that bond.
Jamie has like field layouts of all different types of schools and everything. She can send. I'll have her send everything to you.
And I'd like the proposals to be mutual.
Of course.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
You're asking them to work with the other teams to get that proposal from the other teams? Or
I'm
are you
saying
asking
together.
them for their, because I don't know that these girls can do that. I mean, they can get what students think, but if, again, the adults are unwilling to come to the table, you're back right here where you are.
Now, if I have representatives from the students that are all saying, we as students agree, I hate to say it, it's true. I don't really care about what the adults think.
Right, because somebody's gonna get hurt no matter what.
Because it's not about the adults.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna get like their four wings of the side. They're gonna have to have a compromise. So-
Do you feel that the representatives from the dance team and the cheerleading, as students, and the cheerleading team, you guys can get together? Okay, but, do you?
I don't, like, nothing is changing for the cheer team. We're not asking them to change anything, so I don't understand why they would be opposed to anything, especially last year.
Yeah, and that's why it should be pretty easy then, right?
Yeah.
It should be, it should be.
So, I mean,
And we were fine with what we had at the beginning of the year when we were stationed in front of the student section. That was perfectly fine. We were happy with that. But when we were moved down, that's when we kind of started to be like, what is this going on here?
And extra students
and
are
everything
getting
that
any of
happened was a reaction to trying to fix a complaint to make everyone happy, and nothing worked.
We just don't understand. I think part of it is we don't understand why we're like, how this first started, because I know we as a team thought, okay, this is awesome. We're a new dance team and forever. We're stationed in front of the student section. We thought everyone was happy, but then we kind of started to see things happen and we were like, okay, maybe it's not as like, and I know you guys are just as confused as we are.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but we'll get there. I just think it takes different personalities to bring it together. I'm not slamming anyone, I'm just saying that sometimes personalities and emotion get in the way, and we need another fresh look at it. I'm willing to take another fresh look at it. Fresh look.
There's so many events, I've watched the cheerleaders and dance team dancing together, performing together. So I truly believe a representative group from each of those two groups can figure something out. And to your point, we really don't care what we guys do.
Yeah, and it's not about, disrespectful, because it's about what you guys agree.
It's about you. It's not about you guys. And you don't take that the wrong way. It's not about us either.
No, because that was good.
All right, so I personally broke all my rules about public comment.
Keep that time, that will probably.
Yeah, it's gonna bite me. I never said it. So you guys are more than welcome to stay if you want. We're kind of regular business to do. But I think the whole theme of this is go get with the two groups on each side, merge together at some point, figure it out. We do have time. It's not like this is happening like last year in 2 weeks.
Show us how it's done.
Yeah, you know, as the dance team and I guess the cheer or whatever, it's gonna work together, get something figured out and bring it back. I guess to principal, AD, and then Dr.
Straight to me, a proposal.
There, you got it.
And I'll probably, when I get the proposal, I need to see who it's all from, so it's representative of all, and I'll probably pull everyone that's on there together, say we're sure, because I'm gonna be talking to others saying that we take this out.
So I think the big highlight here is Dr. Gross and the board really wants us to work. It's just, we gotta get everybody to work together. So, but we're done with public comment. I even want every time, I never let people just talk. So
You wait till someone comes.
I know.
I'm gonna remember this.
somebody comes about math class. when they
You know,
don't
we
say-
hold meetings on hospitals, so you don't have
You don't have to
to.
stay.
Yeah, you go.
It's okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but please stay down.
I would leave now if you want. Okay, all right. So we're gonna move on to the agenda under approved minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 1st, 22 and March 8th, 22?
Thank you, so moved. Scholar second.
Board discussion, comments?
Thank you.
All in favor, aye? Opposed, nay? Moving on to personnel. Can I get a motion for numbers 1 through 3?
Giving some instruction second.
A second, board discussion, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay? That carries. Under personnel, number 4, can I have a first and a second?
Giving some move.
Yeah, second.
Board discussion, comments?
I'd like to thank Dr. Gross and the interview team for the thorough job and process that they did to bring this thing forward.
I think Dr. Swim's give a brief overview of how the process occurred.
Sure.
Those who-
Yeah, we had an interview team, and obviously the Teal, Amy's not here, but she was, but she's busy. We went through Teal College with a consultant. How this worked was she pre-screened all of the applications, made her recommendations, and behind the scenes, We also looked at the applications to see if there was agreement or disagreement. That we came up with that original pool of people. We held first round interviews, and then we held second round interviews. The theme of the interviews were basically change. If you talk, what you will, the candidates that were involved. The theme that we kept hearing, and because a lot of people say administrators don't listen, we really were. The whole reason at the beginning that this position was open is because folks were basically saying we would like change. So the goal is to measure how are we going to get that change and what type of impact does that change look like. So we went through a first round. We narrowed that down and then we went to a second round. In the second round, what was asked of all of the candidates was to give a brief presentation of all the nuts and bolts of it's tough to do that in a quick, from beginning to end, all the way through. What is your plan and how will you change Mars football, knowing that the folks we're hearing from are just saying that they just want to see major change. So in that process, after the second round of interviews, came back, discussed a little bit. What took us so long, and I shared with some people, was we wanted to give this its due diligence, and it just takes time. So the reality is we had very good candidates. And I had emailed a student today who emailed me, and I said, it's really not good about, this isn't about good or bad. What it comes down to is best fit. Best fit to hit that position. So as we work through that process, knowing that that is what the expectation of was from us, from those who we're hearing from, we came to the conclusion and the recommendation to the board for Eric Kasparovich to take over the position. I think it's fair to say, in speaking to Eric, he was very pointed, he was very open, he was very candid. And the theme now would be, he answered every question that we could possibly have. We were satisfied with those answers. We did our reference checks, who gave us stellar reviews. He was a very quality person. So I think he was very upfront and honest and very direct and very open about his history as a coach leading up to where we are. So that is our recommendation now. He had shared a plan that will be pretty much a major overhaul of what we're used to. And he does have a history of proven abilities in football. And again, he comes highly recommended for those that work with him in a supervisory capacity also. So that's our recommendation and endorsement. And again, it's tough when you're talking to people that were in the mix, that you have a lot of respect for. It's not about anyone good or bad. There's nothing disparaging to say about any of our final candidates. It's all about that fit and trying to fit that into what we're hearing. Because we're trying to gauge on what the expectation is of us as a hiring committee, of what the folks that do this and want to participate in what they want us to deliver to them. So I believe we're presenting to the candidate that will certainly do that, and has shown that to us through not only the interview process, but very open conversations regarding his history as a coach.
Just to clarify, the board, just like any other soccer coach or anything else, was not involved with any interviews, selection.
No, nor was our AD, because everyone knows our current AD is the former coach, and I've met with him again today. He's taken it extremely well. I can't imagine after being there 30 years and having someone else take the reins, but he's prepared and ready also. And, but no, this was just an interview committee of administrators and Teal College's AD, Amy Schaefer, serving as a consultant. And I can say the committee as a whole it was a unanimous, wasn't a split committee, the committee as a whole is making the recommendation that's put forward, including our consent.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, have a roll call, please.
Mr. Freitas,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Lentz,
No.
Mr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Reiner,
Yes.
Ms. Turner,
Thanks.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Fuchsia.
Yes.
That's 7 yes and 1 no. And 1 out. Oh, and 1 out. Thank you.
Moving on to the main agenda, under finance, can I have a motions numbers 1 through 19? And also including numbers 21 and 22?
Megan, so moved.
And then second.
I have a first and second board discussion, comment, consent. None, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That carries. So under finance, on the main agenda, number 20, can I have a first and a second? Kevin, so moved.
Leon, second.
I have a first and second board discussion, comments.
This man, this also, this finance item also includes an increase in our current cost.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I could hear you, Megan. What did you say? I'm sorry.
This finance item number 20 actually is an increase in our current hourly bill rate from 185 to 190.
We've done a comparison with other districts to see.
That's what she emailed today.
Okay. This must have been pretty late.
Could you give us a quick,
Yes.
and is this budget for this one?
Yeah, I did check, I was asked to check with other districts, so, what, the rate is between 180 and 190 is the rate that that's interest in raising, so. And I do know that it is it's a reduced rate from what we normally would charge to me or you or anybody else. But it's consistent with any districts.
Any other board discussion, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Lentz,
No.
Mr. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Reiner,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Fuchsia,
Yes.
Mr. Freitas.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 no, 1 out.
Thank you, that passes. So on the main agenda, numbers on programs, numbers 1 through 7. Have a first and a second.
Megan, second.
7, second board discussion, comments. Seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So carries. There's no policies, there's no buildings and grounds. On the main agenda, under other, numbers 1 through 18. Have a first and a second.
Go ahead.
Leon, I'll be first.
I'll do the second. Go.
It's an adults compromise.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I have a first and a second. Any more discussion, comments?
Thank you to PTO for the continuous generous support of our school.
Damon.
I'm excited.
Same.
The Centennial School, we're gonna have a big learning center with some couches and chairs where the kids can hang out and do some work there and collaborate together. So I'm very excited to see what that comes.
Yes, thank you for both donations, both schools.
Yeah.
Very generous, thank you.
Any more comment? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So now that we have a much smaller room for public comment.
Y'all got anything to
Does
say?
anyone in the room have, open for public comment? Anyone in the room have public comment at this point? Seeing none, I'll move to this world. Does anyone on Zoom wish to have public comment?
Yes, she left.
Is there anyone from the Zoom or wish to have public comment at this point? We had somebody up there, I think her name was Nicole, she's still Zooming. No public comment, so I'm gonna move on. Is a representative from the MAEA available for comment?
Yes, that would be me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, this is Holly Mackler from the high school. I'm here to represent MAE tonight. First of all, I wanted to thank the board members who joined us in our classrooms and who spoke today at the beginning of the meeting. Thank you for your involvement and for coming to join us. I also wanted to thank you for approving the purchase of the new copiers. We're pretty excited about that. We would like to congratulate Colleen Henriksen for being awarded the grant. And thanks to the PTO for purchasing a subscription of paid teachers for the elementary staff. And last but not least, we would like to just say we look forward to our semi-annual board association meeting. And thank you for letting me speak this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Administration, Dr. Cruz.
The thing I have is we're gearing up for the little bit of an Easter break. I hope that everybody enjoys their families and that time to breathe. And that's all I have. Just have a great Easter break with your families.
Dr. Nguyen. Ms. Brand's there.
We had a finance committee last night, to talk about the budget. And just wanted to let everyone know that I will have a presentation to the public and the board at the first board meeting in May, to present the proposed general fund budget for 22-23 school year. The board will then have a week to review anything, and then we'll have it on the agenda to approve the proposed final budget at the second meeting in May, and then approve it as a final budget. This needs to be a period of to inspect the budget document from that second meeting until we approve it at the second meeting in June. So I think it was a good meeting last night. So looking forward to making a few changes and then presenting that to the public at the May 3rd school board meeting.
Thank you again.
Yes.
Thanks, Professor. Schwimmy.
Nothing to see.
I'll start with Ms. Simler. Ms. Simler.
Tomorrow we have our CAP Day, our career awareness program. So all of our students will be engaging in activities to help support their future endeavors. Our student council had their egg hunt last weekend, and although it was very cold, we did have a nice turnout for that in their donations. They did an excellent job. Our counselors finished up with scheduling for next year. We're going to be doing something with the elementary school on Thursday, where our Science National Honor Society will kind of be partnering with our elementary students and doing a STEAM day for their project for Science National Honor Society. The art show is April 22nd, so if you're free, please stop out and see all of our students' hard work and their talents. National Honor Society induction is April 28th at the high school auditorium. On March 31st, we had our indoor percussion and winter guard performance for family and friends, and if you haven't seen it, it's a really great show. They did a terrific job. We also have our academic senior ceremony coming up on May 4th, and April 27th is Administrative Professionals Day. So I just want to thank all of our secretaries. That's not only the high school, but all of our schools in the district. Our schools would not run without you, so thank you.
It was nice to get back to normal. We had our visits at the end of March. Fourth grade came over and visited Centennial. That was pretty cool. So I have 20 sixth grade students come down and they tour the fourth graders around the school. They get to see pretty much every aspect of the school. They get to ask questions to the kids, because the kids are going to answer differently than I will. So it's nice for them to feel that comfort, and then I kind of give them an overview. So we did that for 2 days. That was March 29th to 31st. We had April 6th, we had our spring open house at Centennial. It was phenomenal. I mean, it was packed. People were coming in like it was Black Friday. So I was pretty excited about that. Mrs. Bride did a wonderful job with our kids' art show. She had displays all the way around, and then every 5th and 6th grade teacher did an awesome job. I saw Connects from our science asset kits. I also saw computers with presentations on them. So that was pretty cool to see all of that. Our last day of Comic Club will be tomorrow. So our after-school tutoring program, we got in 11 sessions in the spring. So that was pretty awesome. April 20th and 21st, 6th grade will transition to the middle school. So Mr. Colson does a nice presentation for them, and then he has 7th and 8th graders take them around and show them the middle school. So that's a nice thing that we didn't do last year. And then of course, our state test PSSAs, we're testing ELA 25th, 26th, 27th. And then math will be 2nd and 3rd. Those are the only two we tested Centennial in grades 5 and 6. And then the ultimate thing that I'm really proud of is May 11th, we go down for our 6th grade educational days at the Pirate game. And our 6th grade band got the chance to play the national anthem.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, pretty pumped about that. That has happened about 5 or 6 times since I've been there. So it's awesome. 30,000 people in the stands, and those kids are standing in center field, and they knock it out of the park. So I'm pretty proud of them for that. And that's all I got. Sorry, it was a long list.
That's great. Hey, listen, if you can tell my daughter to keep her locker clean, maybe we need to discuss the room.
Hey, you just let me know the locker number. If it doesn't close at the bottom, I'll pull it all out for you.
Her visit was, you know what you said, if you do not keep your locker clean, something's up on the ground.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's your area, but you got to close that door. I don't want to see what's behind it.
Yeah. I'm like, can we carry this to your bedroom?
You can bring me. You can take me home. I can do the bedroom too. I can take it out.
Just very glad to hear a real long list. That means we're in the buildings, we're active, we're doing stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, especially in May. So that's it's awesome to share.
So first time been here a while, a lot of new faces. So nice seeing you all here. It's been a really quick year. It's been going really fast. I've been loving it. I plan on talking about today just different people that have been helping out with the district all year, starting with Thanksgiving. We had Untitled Chapter paid for 15 families. Christmas time, we had over probably $70,000 in toys and clothing for the students in the area, all the kids in the area. And then even just today from Inspired Hearts and Hands, they had 66 Easter baskets or boxes they gave to distance families in need in the area, and talking with Megan McCall at the high school, and this was the guidance counselor at the elementary school, just identifying those families and helping the people in need. It's been very helpful. Dr. McMahon, she wanted me to talk about Watermelon Welcome and also pre-K assessment. I broke out in a quick split because I didn't plan on talking about that tonight. I was talking about the other things we do have that going on. I'm going to Paris in about less than 24 hours to see my oldest son, so I'm excited about that. Paris, France, yes. So my son plays professional basketball. I haven't seen him since August.
You're excited.
I'm real excited, and I was drawing blank on the days. Elizabeth, so pick up your phone. Yes.
That's resources. The Watermelon Welcome.
Yes.
And once again, children that are registered for AM typically will come to the AM session because we go over all the AM dismissal procedures. However, we've had 3 case studies with chapters to say it's our Mother's Day tea. If it's PM chapter, we still come to there. We're not going to turn any children away. It's just AM will typically come to the AM session, and that starts at 9:30. And then the town faculty come around 9:15 just to get everybody in that first group all situated. And then the PM session will actually starts at 1. We're asking parents to come at 12:45, again, just to get everybody in the situation of the group setting. And students will take a big yellow bus ride, go toward the school. Parents will learn about the curriculum and the dismissal procedures, meet Mr. Sleva and some of the teachers. Now, please note what's gonna make this different than in the past. Just due to the lack of substitute teachers, we would typically pull all of our kindergarten teachers out of the classroom setting so that they could meet all the kindergarten teachers. There's no way we're gonna get 6 substitute teachers for all of our kindergarten, so we're not doing that. So we're utilizing para support and other adults, as in Mr. Postowitz is gonna be right, big yellow bus with the kids. So we're kind of like all hands on deck, but we're trying to avoid the use of substitutes just because if we pull them off at the primary center, that means we'll be distributing kids in the elementary buildings, staff. So anyway, to try to avoid the substitute teachers. So the kindergarten teachers will not necessarily be in the activities. However, when they do the pre-K assessment, kindergarten teachers will be involved in that, which then that comes the following on May 13th, which is a Friday. We're using our Act 80 day, so that we don't need to utilize substitute teachers for that. We tell parents that they call into the primary center, we schedule that appointment for them. And it's literally max, it's a 30-minute. They're in and out, they get a copy of the pre-K assessment, and never is an assessment a secret. We tell them take that back to the learning center so that they know maybe what activities or skills that they need to work on before coming to kindergarten. And that would be again on May 13th. And then after that, little ones will have an opportunity to visit the building in August on the open dedication day, and then the pre-K orientation night, which will not be until August, but it will be here.
And then on top of that, today we met with faculty just about what kindergarten kids were going to be placed for next year. And they collaborated together at the end of the faculty meeting. Another thing I want to talk about was Stuff the Bus. We did. Kids had a good time. Each morning I say good morning to class. I say good morning, Mr. Sleeve. Today, on Friday when I went in, I told them, well, today you get to run full speed. If you brought diapers, you could run full speed to the bus. And then you throw them to the side, and you run and jump off, and I'll catch you. We had a good time. And they're just running full speed. They had a really good time doing that. And we took over 7,000 diapers over to the lighthouse. They were very thankful for us bringing them to us. And so a lot of stuff, it's all been in place for a long time with Elizabeth, and that she's just been a good mentor. It showed me just to continue to do all the good things. Watermelon Welcome was gone because of COVID. We're able to bring that back. Stuff of Us was gone. We're able to bring it back. So some of the things we're bringing back, they've been implemented for years. And I worked in a different school district. I worked in a school district at elementary school that I think some initiatives that Dr. McMahon brought here, if they were at other places, those schools would be successful. Because what I didn't know for years at the high school is the foundation they built at this level and the things that she's done. And this, I just had to pick up and continue to do. And I've been having a good time, and she made it easy. She's been a mentor the whole time. But she'd be mad at me that I forgot those dates, so I have to pump her up a little bit right now. But that's all true. That's all true.
Well, wait, she was just reading your text.
Yeah.
Great job reading it. That was a heck of a long text.
Mr. Slater, for the new board members, what other hats do you wear besides principal? Because you rattled off the stuff you did.
So I'm the homeless liaison for the district. I'm in charge of students in foster care, and then just any kids in need. And I've been real fortunate to meet people over the years that it's been very helpful. I make a phone call if I find out a kid needs anything. She hates when I say her name, but Laura Seabrook, I call her and she just calls. She has a bunch of women in the area are just more than happy to help. I mean, it's to the point when I was in high school, I have a kid, hey, you come to school for 2 weeks, I'll get you a pair of Air Force Ones. Really? Yes, really. Call, make a call, it's done. You see a kid, any kid K through 12 that has, they don't have clothes, or you see that, you know, whatever the case may be, we just got bottles and Similac for babies this past week. So those are rules, and just meeting the people, and they know that they come to me, but it's not me who does it. It's the connections I made. I mean, even in this room, people help me with clothing and stuff for kids that need it. So appreciate everyone's support.
You do a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, that's fun.
Vacationing next 26 days.
Yes.
Or to get the days approved.
Yeah.
Too late for people.
I got my request ready.
MS administrators. All right, moving on, board discussion. Board comments this side?
No committees, no.
I just say it was fantastic to see all the students here. It's fantastic to see administrators here. More people that take part, the better. Wish we could see more people at our finance meeting yesterday. So I hope more people come out next week and just continue to take part and learn more about what goes on in the district.
And morning, Matt.
This side of the room?
Well, Coach K, and
I hope the dance team and cheerleaders can work out their differences and make it happen. It's nice to see them all, and obviously they're passionate, same as the other kids. Let the adults come together and fix it for them.
I hope when we're getting new curriculum that we get even more people here to have discussions
Yes.
about future academic goals as our school district grows, and any type of staff that would need to be hired to help move us forward academically. I'm really looking forward to that now that all the sports stuff is wrapped up.
Any other board discussion? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Megan, so moved.
Have a second, I'm saying,
Yeah, no, we are having a closed session afterwards.